These are
I
all
I think
obstacles. Do not just simply remove the obstacles out of your story. The
Exactly.
obstacles are a challenge, and challenge is entertaining. Like, and it builds character.
a story is about conflict, and
Exactly.
obstacles create conflict. Don't get rid of all of, like, obviously it comes to a point. It's like, okay, well, they're never going to get to Mordor, but
So the first topic, obviously, these topics are influenced from the movie. We got
Tremendous.
scale, size, and distance, right? Obviously, talking scale with Godzilla and other kaiju's slash mobile suits. I wasn't even looking at you guys' asses.
You said the word. You got to do the thing.
Yeah. Talking about with movies and stuff like that, like one thing I can, when it comes to scaling, like I remember that Power Rangers movie that came out that not too long ago. Like the scaling was awful. Like sometimes they were like the trees didn't reach their toes, but then other times they were like not as tall as like 3-story buildings. And it's like
I have a
how
good
tall
example
are
of
they?
this. You guys ever see the movie Reign of Fire with Christian
yeah.
Bale?
Oh,
And
Yeah, that's going to be on the
Alright,
Iron Seas
alright.
one week.
that's a cool movie, and we are going to have to watch it at some point. But the scale of the dragons is so wildly inconsistent. It's like the most. It's the worst example of this. Like some shots, it looks awesome. It's like this dragon is bigger than skyscrapers. It's like resting on top of them, and then in this one, it's like it can fit in a courtyard. Like not even a big courtyard, just like a
Right,
courtyard.
I think somebody that is consistent with that type of thing would be like House of the Dragon, because the dragons themselves are part of the cast.
Oh,
So
they make Vagar look huge. Which
They
is
Jurassic
exactly how
Parked
they
that
should.
shit. They went into
Yeah.
the science of it and everything. You can tell. Like they studied eagles. It's cool. But Game of Thrones universe is also the greatest defender of distance, like Bats was saying, with some of the late Game of Thrones season.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like, the scale of monsters. I mean, there's visual storytelling with that in movies and stuff like that. It can have different themes, or it can tell more than just what they're saying on the screen, and that could work along with your writing as well. Obviously, not as well. But the other aspect of this topic that I was going to bring up is that like thinking about like travel time. You get really lazy story writing when, I think the best example is Game of Thrones, right? It takes them a fortnight, 40 days to travel between kingdoms in the early seasons. And then later seasons, they're just teleporting. And people are like, well, they're trying to move the story along. It's like, no, that's lazy. Like,
No,
it has
King's
to.
Landing.
I think it doesn't work because in the world of Game of Thrones, so much good or bad could happen in those travels, and it just feels like you're skipping all of it, and that's why I think it doesn't work. Because in some stories, I'm like, yeah, in Star Wars they have literal hyperdrives. They can literally just teleport mostly, or like something very equivalent to that.
Well, it talks to the world. It talks about the world, like if you have that. But even in a world where they have hyperdrives and stuff like that, it taking time to travel is still a factor in Star Wars.
Yeah, even in the
sometimes they're
movies, which don't have the same amount of time as a TV show, they still show the travel. It still happens.
Yep.
Well, like when it came to communications, because they're like, oh, they're too far away. When they, their hyperdrive went, kaput, so they're stuck on that planet. And not to mention, it's just like even with like hyperspeed, like it still takes time for people to get from point A to point B. It's like if we call reinforcements and they're at planet X, they're not going to be there 2 seconds later. They're going to be there quick, but not like 2 seconds later.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'm pretty sure the size comparison of Westeros is like if you turn Europe on its side, King's Landing is like kind of north towards the bottom, and like Winterfell is kind of towards the top. So like imagine traveling all the way across Europe. You do that within the same episode or one episode later, and it's really easy to fix that. All you got to do is just have a little montage and just show us that time passed. It's fine. Literally House of the Dragon does that, and it's great. That's
Well,
why, you know.
There are other shows and other books especially, that are not guilty of this, but it comes down to taste. I've met people who do not like the heavy focus on the traveling aspect of a lot of fantasy books. Because, like,
There's
think
ways
Lord of the
around it,
Rings, there are ways around it, but, like, again, I don't mind it, but a lot of other people don't like hearing about, like, many of the steps of the journey. They kind of want to get to
Right,
the
but then just
destination.
focus on a different character. Well, like when something is going on, or just like
Or
have
make the
time-
traveling
problem-
interesting. I don't know. It's not hard.
Well, even with the fix you just proposed, AC, that doesn't work either. Because part of that is they screwed themselves over in a writing perspective, and you can't just like simply write yourself out of it. Like you have to.
Shit's
actually
going
put
down
thought
right
process.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're surrounded. You can't be like, oh, hey, go run this place. It's like, well, according to your lore, your rules, it's going to take days for them to reach the wall. You can't just have them reach in the afternoon. It's like, okay, they're going to starve to death before any reinforcements come. Like what are we
when
doing?
When Arya escapes from King's Landing with the Night's Watch guy after Ned Stark or whatever.
You're half-hand.
Literally, that's a whole arc. That's a
Oh,
whole
I
arc.
know. It's a horrible
Her journey
arc.
to the wall.
Yeah,
Just to the wall,
so
though.
boring.
Like, that's yeah.
How dare you, Joe? Get out.
that part of the dude. That was
AC,
his book
execute
lore. It
him.
was incredibly boring.
There's some cool symbolism in that part, though. That's rife
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of cool symbols. But
it
yeah, I
was
agree.
good,
It's
and you
pretty
could
lame.
suck a.
She ate worms every day, and the boys complained every time they had to eat worms. But Arya just did it, and she was like a tough girl the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I was saying,
How many pages did that happen on?
Most of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
there was good stuff too.
That dude just hit his tooth with a mug, I think.
Oh, I thought you
it
sneezed.
was audible. It was
I
a
thought you
clunk.
sneezed.
I was wondering what the hell just happened. You need to take a minute, brother.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
good.
Talk shit about Arya again.
Yeah,
gonna get you.
that was George. That was Martin the Late, cursing you from afar with his. His
Oh,
spell
so Martin, he's sitting there like, he's talking about fuck you.
yeah, he's watching right now.
I think in terms of,
Actually, he has a kind of a higher voice. A lot of
This
authors
completely
do. I've
based
noticed that.
Until he said that. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, it's all their low T, and that's why they can't finish their books.
Well,
Yeah.
I may be low T, but I have a successful book series, Matt. So also, what do you have?
I have finished every book that I've
IT?
Yeah, high T. That's what I got.
Yeah. Take that.
Yeah.
Look at this beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the traveling and things of that nature, I think that whether or not you and how you choose to do it really depends on what you're trying to do with your story. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think of Master and Commander, where the distance that was traveled and the time that really mattered for the characters and how they reacted to the
The
situation.
pacing
and
of
all
that movie really works
Tension.
in time with
Yep.
that. Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing. People should embrace it. Like, yeah, you can gloss over travel, but you can also write an entire book on it. When I was writing my novel, I split it into thirds. You know, I was doing research, 3x structure, all that. Ended up making a hybrid out of it in the structure. But I digress. The first 33% of it, I'm like, I'm kind of getting into this. And there's another universe where I literally just wrote the first book is just the nautical part of the journey. You know what I mean? You can keep going with anything,
These-
you know?
These are
I-
all
I think-
obstacles. Do not just simply remove the obstacles out of your story.
Exactly,
The obstacles
yeah.
are a challenge, and challenge is entertaining. And it builds character.
A story is about conflict, and
Exactly.
obstacles create conflict. Don't get rid of all of. Like, obviously, it comes to a point. It's like, okay, well, they're never going to get to Mordor, but no,
Yeah.
you like. I think part of it comes down to the world too. How the world operates. Do they have how do people travel? How do they communicate? It's like in the world of George R. R. Martin, it's like they have ravens and they're fairly fast, but it still makes communication iffy. But like, say in the world of Stormlight, they have these things called span reads. If you're wealthy enough or you are friends with someone wealthy, you can have instant communication over any distance.
Oh,
That
Sanderson
changes.
paywalled it, huh?
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, but then
if
it
you have
creates
nice
new
eyes,
obstacles.
you are rich and you have cool shit. If you're not, if you're just a simple brown-eyed guy, forget it, man.
Well, that creates new obstacles if if you're going to be smart enough when you do
Like
it.
racism.
And Brandon does it. Yeah. No,
I always thought
it's
the eye
basically
color was
people can
clever.
steal the information, right? And that starts to happen. So
Yep,
now,
yep.
now you got different obstacles. But yeah, what were you going to say, AC?
Oh, I always thought the eye color segregation was really clever.
Yeah.
No, it's a
I mean,
different.
it's obvious, but it's clever.
Well, it creates a similar problem, but with a very different method.
Yep.
And
And
obviously,
it's just a surface level. Just a surface level.
just a surface level. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to do skin color here. We're going to do eye color.
Hazel eyes, yeah, hazel eyes. Yeah,
Hazel.
They could be. It could be.
Hazel gang.
Hazel's I'm pretty
Boring
sure it's a
brown.
silent T.
Boring Brown, hey, where you at?
Bitch. We got the ocean in our
brown and
eyes.
beautiful, baby.
I don't like how you said that.
I do.
Brown and beautiful, baby.
Is
Sensual.
there any other way to say it?
No,
No.
is the answer.
Brown and beautiful, baby.
That's
Oh,
another
there's
way.
another way. Oh,
That's
that was
another way.
I didn't like that either. Never mind. I regret.
You got to voice my female orc like that. 'cause
Well, let's get back to
what a
the-
big tusk you have.
Tusk love.
the scaling aspect of this. I feel like that's something that doesn't really come into too much of this stuff. I'm just thinking of a really good bad example. Rings of Power. When they have those
really
three
bad.
tiny boats that took an entire
Worse than Game of
army
Thrones.
with the cavalry, and you're just like, again, the visual storytelling. You're like, ain't no fucking way. And the show got torn apart for doing something stupid like
You
that.
guys remember when Sauron was part of a pageant for like 24 orcs in a cave somewhere? he's like running for office.
I mean, that was like such a simple fix. Like, just don't show the boats. I don't know why they showed the boats.
Because they need to
They
show
don't
off
think
their money
about
back.
these things. That too. And they don't think about these things.
Say less. They don't think.
They need to watch more Iron Seas and they won't have these problems, They could be learning things here.
They need to commit categorical
I was like,
career-driven seppuku. Anyway.
You just watched a clip from the Iron Seas podcast. Make sure to like this, subscribe. It helps us out a little bit. And please catch the show live at 9:30 Eastern every Tuesday.